As you may have heard, the storm season for 2025-2026 is officially underway. Earlier today, the Met Office named their first storm, Storm Amy, and that is expected to hit the British Isles as we head through Friday into Saturday. And it is expected to pack a punch, and that's why the Met Office have already issued a number of warnings. And we're going to take a look at those warnings in more detail in a minute or so. But let's take a look at the possible impact of this storm. Now, when the Met Office name storms, it is on the strength of the wind, and this one is going to pack a punch. So across parts of the north, we're talking about gusts of between 60 to 70 miles quite widely. We can't even rule out gusts up to 80 miles per hour. With that, we're also going to have some pretty heavy rain coming through, 50 to 70 millimeters, on top of some pretty heavy rainfall that we have already had through the course of this week up across the northwest in particular. Well, let's take a look at the area of low pressure which is going to come through. This is Amy, fairly deep, and it was born out of ex-hurricanes that came across the Atlantic. We're going to feel the brunt of it as we get through to Friday and Saturday. You can see that squeeze in the isobar, so winds picking up and the heavy rainfall coming through. Well, let's take a look at the possible track of Storm Amy. It's not a dead cert at the moment, but the most likely track is that it will come through off the Atlantic, certainly affecting parts of Northern Ireland and also Scotland. However, it could come a little bit further south, but this is the less likely. The least likely track is to the north, so heading towards the Northern Isles, which again could be quite impactful for the Northern Isles, like Shetland in particular. But as I say, we're keeping a watchful eye to see the track of this storm. It'll all become clear as we get through the next 24 hours. So Friday is looking like a pretty messy picture. If I can pick out any good points about this storm coming through, it's going to be quite disruptive, but it looks as though it will be arriving a bit later on Friday, which is good news. I think the evening rush hour, things will start to go downhill, winds picking up, the rain beginning to come through, but the storm is expected to be more of an overnight affair, so the early hours of Saturday morning could be quite disruptive. We're talking about disruption on rail and also on the roads. With all that heavy rain coming through and also the rain that's been coming through over the last few days, the ground is going to be heavily saturated, and what that will start to do is weaken the roots of trees. So trees could well come down, and that's why the Met Office do have a number of warnings in place. Let's take a look at those warnings right now. In fact, we'll start with the ones that are in place at the moment, so ahead of Storm Amy, and you can see what I was talking about, those rain warnings which are still in place across western parts of Scotland. Cumulatively, we could see, as I say, up to 200 millimetres falling by the time we get to the end of this week. Certainly enough rain to cause some disruption, perhaps even some localised flooding as well. As we head through the next couple of days, you can see more warnings do start to kick in for wind and rain. As I say, in the wind warning areas, we could see gusts up to around 80 miles per hour, so strong gusty winds, heavy rain as well. As we get towards the weekend, we start to lose the rain warnings, but the wind certainly a feature. Now, these warnings could well be updated and even upgraded. So my advice would be to keep a very watchful eye on the forecast, and whatever you do, stay as safe as you can.